3 हो गया था.
Okay, 4. Om से शुरू करें. Shri Ganeshaya Saraswati Namah. Shri Namah. Swaha Tat Sat Haribo Devasya Dhimani Dhiyo Yo Namah Prachodaya. Krishnaya Vasudeva Hare Ananta Krishna Shakti Govinda Om Trayambakam Yajamhe Sugandhim Pushtivarnam Dravamiva Bandhana Mrityo Mukshiyamamrita. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Blessed self adorations. आत्म प्रणाम. आप सबको अभिनंदन है. Welcome each one of you who have already joined us online, and welcome each one of you who will be joining or listening to this satsanga in the future. let us come to this present moment during this Navaratri, which we have many times explained. Navaratri means 9 nights. 9 nights of auspicious time for special prayers, and lots of karma kand also goes on during this 9 nights. And there are total, in a year, there would be 4 of 9 night session. 2, everyone knows. One is normally known, the one right now, normally known as Ramanavami, but yet no restrictions that you pray to Devi Ma or you pray. Otherwise, the other one during September, October, just before Deepavali, is Devi Navaratri. Normally, concentration is prayers to Devi Ma for 9 nights. But it's interchangeable. My childhood came up with this Navaratri is called Ramanavami. We celebrate the birth of Lord Rama. And then the one during just before Deepavali is to Devi Ma, concentration on Devi Ma. And then the 2 others are Gupta Navaratri. One is during end of January, February. We just completed that. Those who are connected with me, you know that. And the other one is around June, July, something like that. So that is Gupta, means secret. Everyone does not come to know about it, but yet the tithi is there. And that one too is very auspicious for not many people know. So that I always say that traffic is low and clear. It's less noise around in the universe. So you end up reaching with very deep concentration. And then its choice is yours. You do Devi Ma Puja, Ram Navami, Ram Puja, Krishna Puja. We have been doing Srimad Bhagavad Mahapuran. So here today we will continue with our regular or our routine Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, or we end up doing Srimad Bhagavad Gita on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. I think if somebody is joined with me on the Facebook, you would know we are doing live Satsang, so please understand. So Sunday Bhagavad Gita, and we will also invoke Lord Rama, Devi Ma, and let us come to this present moment with that thought deep down in our hearts. The code is one, no matter what name you take. Ram, Krishna, Devi Ma. Devi Ma herself is in so many forms. And that same Lord manifested and comes and came in many forms. So whichever name and form attracts you, that is your wish. And God does not get angry if you take another name. It's all one. So let us have that deep faith and devotion. Does not matter who takes what name, but it reaches that one supreme divinity. Brahmanandam Paramasukadam
Kevalam Jnanamudhyam Dvandvatītam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Vilakshyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatītam Triguna-rahitam Sadgurum Tam Namah Sadgurum Tam Namah
Adorations to the divine preceptor, who is the blissful Brahman, the giver of supreme joy, the embodiment of pure consciousness, beyond the pairs of opposites, vast like the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond all modifications. To that divine Guru, we offer our adorations, our humble sashtang pranams, at the holy lotus feet of Puja Gurudev, Puja Sri Swami Nikhilananda Ji Maharaj, Miami, Florida. Our Param Gurudev, Puja Sri Swami Sivananda Ji Maharaj of Divine Life Society Rishikesh. To our Jagat Guru, our world teacher, Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya. In the entire lineage of Gurus, our humble Sashtang pranams, pranams to all saints and sages of all religions, pranams to Brahman Devata, Acharya Jis, Rishi Munis, all wherever they are doing their special prayers during this Navaratri and evermore, our humble pranams. May your blessings be upon each and every aspirant, their near and dear ones, devotees of God, so they know God and they know God is taking care of them. Whatever hardship we may have, it is just because of our own karma, our own doing, our own thoughts, whatever we have done, not only in this life, but our many previous lives. So continue to have that faith, continue to do japa, continue to pray, because one day, oh, just like a leaf does not stand on a tree forever, the leaf has to fall one day, and then new leaves come. Same way in our lives. All hardship has to fall away, just like the dead leaf. And then new, beautiful, blissful life sprouts like new leaves. And do not get hardened by not thinking of God because you are facing hardship. Now continue, because melt down, kneel down and surrender to Lord, because definitely through Gurus, Lord showers the choicest blessings. Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat. Radhe Radhe, Jai Shri Krishna, Radhe Radhe, Jai Devi Ma, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Hanuman. So I will chant one Shloki Ramayan before I read Swamiji's message today, because this is Ramanavami and also Devi Ma. Om Dum Durgaya Namaha. Om Shri Durge Namaha. Jai Ma Lakshmi Adi Shakti Ambe Bhavani No Durga Mata Ki Jai. Ashtalakshmi Mata Ki Jai. जितने भी शक्ति पीठ है वो माता की जय. आदो रामतपोवनादि गमनम हत्वा मृगम कांचनम वैदेही हरणम जटायुमरणम सुग्रीव संभाषणम बाली निर्दलनम समुद्रतरणम लंकापुरी दाहनम पश्चात रावण कुंभकर्ण हननम चैतदी रामायणम. ओम गीता गंगा चा गायत्री सीता सत्य सरस्वती ब्रह्म विद्या ब्रह्म बलि त्रिसंध्या मुक्त गेहिनी अर्धमात्रा चिदानंदा भव अग्निभय नाशिनी वेद त्रयी परानंदा तत्वार्थ ज्ञान मंजरी जय नरो निश्चल तत्व ज्ञान सिद्धि परम पदा. जय श्री कृष्ण. राधे राधे. Inspiration. How to develop inspiration? By Puja Gurudev. But much more inspiring than physical nature, because last time we talked about physical nature and being around nature, watching the beauty and thanking God, feeling that beauty within us. So continuing here, but much more inspiring than physical nature, you can find the inner nature in human life. So now looking at plants, trees, flowers, and beyond that, look at that beauty and look at that, or find the same, the inner nature in human life. It is inspiring indeed to behold the mountain summits covered with snow during the golden hours of the morning. When we see the mountains covered with snow in the morning, in the Himalayas, Kailash, those who go to pilgrimage on Kailash, or a green valley lit up with moonlight during the serene hours of the night. But how much more inspiring is to discover the glorious heights of spirituality in the lives of saints and sages. It's not easy. We smile, we laugh, we enjoy the beauty, we enjoy the surrounding, but internally, whatever is happening internally, it has to be peace. It has to be peaceful. And let go if there is any chaos going outside, knowing that this is just a drama. For whatever we see outside is not eternal. It has to pass by one day. And that has to give us joy. Thinking only that gives us joy. Saints and sages face difficulties, face sickness, face hardship also. But we have that faith within us that this too shall pass. The mantra from our Guru is, this too shall pass. Whether good times or bad times, it has to pass. And this body too has to pass. And while on this topic, for those who follow my mysticism of Ramayana on WhatsApp recording, I could not record for the past 2 nights during Navaratri, which seldom happens, but it happened. It has been hard, so understand that we go through hardship also. And if you are going through hardship, just kneel down and say, thank you, Lord, because this is your wish, your will. That is why this has happened. Otherwise, it could have been otherwise. Yes. So accept it. That's where we have to bring in acceptance and yet be peaceful within. Can the wisdom of Buddha be compared to the inert peaks of the Himalayas? Compare the peaks of Himalayas with the wisdom of Lord Buddha. Can the love of Christ be compared to the lifeless, surging ocean? So it's upon us to think how we compare, how we see oneness in both. Some pass it on silently, and some pass it on with some language, and the language of love. When we silently pass on that effulgence of light and the divinity, the divine love to each one, without even a word, you should feel it. no matter how far you are. That's the true divine love, not the physical attraction, not the sense pleasures. It is that bliss that erupts from within, the peace that erupts from within. And momentarily we feel that as soon as the upheaval is outside, you go a little sad, but spring back to that bliss within. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.
Kirtan?
Okay.
Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Pahi Mam Shri Ganesh, Shri Ganesh, Shri Ganesh, Rakshamam, Sharvan Bhava, Sharvan Bhava, Sharvan Bhava, Pahi Mam, Kartikeya, 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 Rakshamam, Jaya Saraswati, Jaya Saraswati, Jaya Saraswati, Pahi Mam. Shri Saraswati, Shri Saraswati, Shri Saraswati, Lakshma, Jaya Guru Shiva Guru, Hari Guru Rama, Jagat Guru, Param Guru, Adi Guru, Advaita Guru, Ananda Guru, Om, Chid Guru, Chid Gana Guru, Chinmaya Guru, Jagat Guru, Shankaracharya Shivananda Jyotirmayananda Shankaracharya Shivananda Jyotirmayananda Shankaracharya Shivananda Jyotirmayananda Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Ramachandraya Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Shiva 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 Shivaya Namah. Hare 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 Namah Shivaya. Om Namo Narayana, Om Namo Narayana, Om Namo Narayana, Om Namo Narayana, Om Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Ramachandraya, Anjaliya, Anjaliya, Anjaliya Pahi Hanumanta, Hanumanta, Hanumanta Lakshman. Om Shakti, Om Shakti, Om Shakti Pahi Brahma Shakti, Vishnu Shakti, Krishna Shakti, Shaman, Gangarani, Gangarani, Gangarani Pahi Bhagirathi, 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 Shaman, Adi Shakti, Mahashakti, Parashakti, Pahi Ichha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Rakshaman, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari 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 Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari 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 Om, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Shri Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. हमारा दंडवत प्रणाम है उस ब्रह्मांडीय ईश्वरीय शक्ति को, हमारे परम पूज्य गुरुदेव स्वामी ज्योतिर्मयानंद जी महाराज को, सब साधु संतों को, ऋषियों मुनियों को, हमारे पवित्र शास्त्रों को और आप सब में विद्यमान परमेश्वर को. Our humble prostrations to the all-pervading Brahman, to our worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayanand Ji Maharaj, to all sages and saints, to our holy and deep scriptures, and to the divinity in every one of you. So we are currently studying Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We had started chapter number 7 on Jnana Vijnana Yoga. And today we are starting with shloka number 4. So Lord Krishna continues to guide Arjuna. In chapter 6, he had taught him about meditation, how to meditate, how to think, how to feel the peace, and how to progress in meditation. And in chapter 7, he is teaching that knowledge in a practical way. Jnana Vijnana Yoga is chapter 7. Gyan means not knowledge of the world, but knowledge of God, spiritual knowledge, real knowledge. And Vigyan is practically applying it in our daily life. Otherwise, knowledge becomes only theoretical. Just knowing something is not enough. We have to live it. So Lord Krishna continues to guide Arjuna. And in Shloka 4, he says...
4 and 5 are together.
Okay. He says, Bhumirapo nalo vayuhu mano buddhiraiva cha ahankara iti amme bhinna prakriti rashtadha aparaye mittastvanyam prakritim viddhim me param jiva bhutam mahabaho Yayedam dharayate jagat.
Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intellect, and the ego principle. These 8 divisions go to constitute my prakriti, my lower nature. Who is saying this? Lord is saying this. Sri Bhagavan Vacha is continued here. And then that was shloka number 4. And then number 5. This is my lower nature. O mighty armed Arjun, different from this is my higher nature. So, which is the soul? So higher nature is the soul by which this entire world is sustained. Only through this higher nature. In Hindi. पृथ्वी जल अग्नि वायु आकाश मन बुद्धि और अहंकार भी इस प्रकार यहाँ 8 प्रकार से विभाजित मेरी प्रकृति है. यहाँ 8 प्रकार के भेदों वाली तो अपरा अर्थात मेरी जड़ प्रकृति है. और हे महाबाहो, हे अर्जुन, इससे दूसरी को जिससे यह संपूर्ण जगत धारण किया जाता है, मेरी जीव रूपा परा अर्थात चेतन प्रकृति जान.
So very deep shloka, combined 4 and 5, because most of us live our life as if we are this body. We get hurt, we pay rent, we pay mortgages, we go work, we do all these things. And at that time, we don't think we are Brahman, we don't think we are God. We look at our practical problems in front of us, which we try to solve with our body, mind, intellect, and ego. So, but if you go deeper and you understand, when you sleep, none of these things are there in your deep sleep. You abandon them all, you wake up refreshed. What happened? These things were not needed in your deep sleep, but you need them in the waking state. How will you move? How will you do anything? So God is trying to give us this lesson here. भगवान यहाँ पर बता रहे हैं, मेरी प्रकृति दो तरीके की है. I have two kinds of nature. One is the nature that is called apara prakriti, and one is called para prakriti. Apara and para. Prakriti means nature. So my inherent nature, God says, is of two kinds. One is the power of illusion that will hold you in this world process. And those are these 8 elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. And then he gives us 3 more: mind, intellect, and ego. 5 plus 3, 8. So these are the 8 elements that make up his apara prakriti, meaning this world. Everything that we see around is made up of only these 8 things. Now, he says that's what binds us to the world process, because we think we are these things. So many people die not knowing that they are not these things. So therefore, this knowledge is becoming jnana. And when you understand this jnana or wisdom through your practical experience, it becomes vigyan. Looking at a picture of food is jnana, knowledge. Knowing a recipe, how to cook something, is knowledge. But then actually cooking it and eating it, enjoying it and relishing the meal is practical knowledge, otherwise theoretical. See? So यहाँ पर God is saying, if you are only at the worldly level doing these 8 things, you haven't touched my higher self. Where are we? We are only in the lower self. It is called apara prakriti. Technical term in Hindi, apara prakriti. But then there is this para prakriti. In shloka 5, he says, beyond all this is another higher level nature of mine. That nature is what we call consciousness, Atma, Spirit, Holy Ghost, whatever name you like to call it, God, Ishwar. So consciousness, all these things, they mean the same thing. That means there is an energy that is making you breathe. There is an energy that is making you talk, walk, eat, sleep. And all these 8 elements work only because of that energy, which is called the Chetana Shakti, Atma. So the apara prakriti binds you. So mind you, very important that we understand this. You are not just this body. You just didn't appear and then you'll disappear into nothingness. No, that doesn't happen. You were something before you were born, and you will be something after you die. What? It doesn't matter. Now at present time, you can change your destiny. You can change your thought process. You can get liberated, or you can be born in very highly evolved places, or vice versa also. In this human body, we can degrade ourselves to the level of animals and then be born as an animal or a lower embodiment. Up to us what we do with it. तो choice भगवान हमको देते हैं कि तुम क्या चाहते हो, and whatever you want, you have to act accordingly. If you want to be wealthy, you have to work very hard. If you don't have the wealth, then you have to study, you have to progress, you have to push yourself harder. And then rewards will come, just like people studied and became doctors and engineers and whatever they did in their life is through self-effort. Effort is very important. Just sitting and hoping things will change, it doesn't work like that. We have to pick up things and make them work. हमी को करना पड़ेगा. तो अभी अपरा प्रकृति में क्या हो जाता है? What is this अपरा or unnatural 8 states? Earth, water, fire, air, ether, and then mind, intellect, and ego. Clear? So these 5 are everywhere. Earth, water, fire. We cannot survive without these things. If earth didn't exist, where would we go? Where would we stand? And if water wasn't there, how long will our body stay hydrated? We drink liquids. So all these 5 things आपके अंदर भी हैं. Bones are made up of earth element. The blood is made up of the water element. Fire that makes you feel hungry and digest your food is the fire element. The air element is what gives you breath and space. consciousness, ether gives you space. So all these five are within our body, but then you have this mind, intellect, and ego also, which we cannot see externally. Everything else we can see. If somebody cuts us, blood comes out, so we know we have blood inside, red color. Doesn't matter what color of our skin is. We may be black, brown, orange, but the blood will always be red, same color. So God doesn't differentiate between people, religion, caste, races, this, that. We do. Humans are the problem, not God. We have created all these so-called mini centers, and we say, my God is better than your God, or I am higher than you. All that is ignorance. God is saying, forget about all that. Look at what you are facing in your current situation, which is your practical problems made up of these 8 things. 5 you can see, 3 you cannot. What's happening in your mind, I cannot see. You cannot see what's happening in other people's minds. Intellect, dull intellect will drag you into dungeons, and sharp intellect will make you very, whatever you want. You can change your life with that. And ego is the subtle principle that says, I am. That ego, when it gets inflated, is bad. Otherwise, the ego, it keeps us in ignorance, thinking we are this body, mind, all these things. And then we eventually have to let go of the ego and we touch the consciousness. So यहाँ पर भगवान कहते हैं, the prakriti, apara prakriti, this nature, I have made like a magic show. So you will be hypnotized by it. You will be. There is no other choice. So because when we live in this world, we tend to think this is my family, my house, my car, my job, my boss, my child, and we need it also. That's how life works. But God says internally, you don't get deluded by that. It is not mine. Nothing is mine. Even your breath does not own. You don't own it. Any minute God can take it away. So therefore, we should live understanding that all these prakriti is to bind us. Ashuddha hai, meaning it's impure. बुराई का जन्म देकर बंधन का कारण बन जाती है प्रकृति meaning this lower nature is therefore it keeps us, first of all it keeps us in ignorance, then it keeps us in delusion, and then it binds us also. Otherwise we would have been liberated a long time ago. Why would we be born? We are born because God is giving us another opportunity. Okay, my child, this time please go do the right things and then come to me. Then we promise also in our mother's womb. For 9 months, we are in her womb. And then we go through a lot of difficult time, you see, in a small little area. Imagine you have to be connected to her food, and whatever hot stuff she eats hits you. And then you have to be affected by it. And good and bad you have to deal with, and then you have to come out of a very painful process. Then you basically are telling God at that time, Bhagwan, this is the last time. I don't want to go through this nonsense anymore. It's very painful. I come out and I promise you, we tell God, because at that time we remember all these things. Our scriptures also tell us that. Us samay, we are in this repentance mode that we did something, here we are again. So now when I come out, I will be very pure. I will follow just your guidance. So God, I will follow my higher prakriti and change everything and come to you. That's what we say. So God has mercy on us. We come out, healthy baby, everything is fine. Our parents love us. All that happens. And then Maya takes over again. The minute we get our toy, we say, this is my toy, this is my chocolate, this is my thing. And we get caught in that and we forget about God. So this is when some satsang happens, when a saint comes, like Narada came to Valmiki ji, Ratnakar Daku, then life changes. And sometimes, you know, we go through some adversity, deep adversity, where we say, all this is nonsense, it's not worth it. I've done this, nothing works. Then you are pushed into it. So sometimes you are pushed by your own previous gunas, which means you have already done enough tapasya, where these things automatically you don't like. You don't like too many parties or too much show and name and frame in the social life that people lead. You don't like it because in the past births you have already done that tapasya. You have done the penance, so therefore you're already born like that with that quality. So some people are forced to leave it by circumstantial changes. Some people leave it through a saint, when a saint comes in their life and a guru comes in their life. And some people don't change at all. They just die like that, and then the cycle continues. Maybe in some other birth they will get that opportunity. But mind you, every drop has to reach every river merges into the ocean. Every drop has to eventually get back. When? Nobody knows. ये नहीं पता. तो भगवान यहाँ पर यही बता रहे हैं कि जो तुम प्रकृति में फंस जाओगे, when you will be caught in the lower world, then you are attached. And when you come to me, then you are detached. Simple, isn't it? Attach and detach. Detach from the world, attach to God. That's what we should do. Then he says, the higher consciousness, and both of them are within you. That's the best part. But what you don't see is your spirit, and that's the one that gets ignored the most, because feeding our stomachs is more important than the soul, obviously, for physical survival needs. But then we should do both. That's what God is trying to say. And he will teach us also. Bhagwan batayenge bhi, kyunki if you don't know something, you have an excuse that I didn't know God, I just didn't know. But when you know it, and due to many, many punyas, so each of you who's listening to Bhagavad Gita right now or will listen to it later, you have all done many good deeds. Otherwise, this would not have happened in this life for you to come to this high level of teaching. But now it's also your effort. So you are getting this teaching now to absorb it and to digest it and to assimilate it. You have to do it. So therefore, it's God's grace is already there, that you are physically, like you are attached to it. You take the time. You are leaving other forces of the world to be here. Now, what you do with it is your self-effort. So, जिसके द्वारा जीव का पोषण मिलता है और समस्त जगत में व्याप्त है, उसको होकर धारण किए रहता है. He says, through the higher self, your lower self gets nourished. Everything is happening through the sanction of the higher self. The minute the higher self doesn't cooperate, nothing will work. We will be called dead people. We cannot walk, talk, eat, smell, work, nothing. So, ये जीव तत्व है. Jiva tattva hai. Jiva meaning we are in a state of ignorance. That's why we say Atma and Paramatma. Paramatma is that divine energy we call God, who is the macro level. We are the micro. We are the drop of the ocean. He is the ocean, if you want to think like that. So Atma Chetna hai jo Brahmand ko dharti hai. So that, but yet we are the same drop of ocean as he is. So there is no difference. You cannot divide it. You cannot say, let me give you a portion of myself. It's not like that. So this is why it's a mystical subject, and deep introspection or samadhi mein humko jaakar dheere dheere apna kalyan karna hai. But this is what God is giving you in these two shlokas, that these 8 elements are to bind you, and me, my higher nature, is to free you. And they are both within you only. So दोनों ही जब आपके अंदर हैं, we have to clean it, we have to fix it. That is our problem. So then he moves on to shloka number 6. Lord says, Edat yonini bhutani sarvani tyuparadharaya aham kritsnasya jagataha prabhavah pralayastatha.
These two prakritis of mine are the source of all beings. Thus, I am the origin of this entire world, as well as in its dissolution. हे अर्जुन, तू ऐसा समझ कि संपूर्ण भूत इन दोनों प्रकृतियों से ही उत्पन्न होने वाले हैं और मैं संपूर्ण जगत का प्रभाव तथा प्रलय दोनों अर्थात संपूर्ण जगत का मूल कारण हूँ.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Tat Sat. So here God is going reiterating what he just said in the previous two shlokas, that I am the higher cause, I am also the lower cause. I create the illusion and I also remove the illusion. I am the magician and I am also the person performing the magic tricks. A magician is not always doing his magic, right? Only when he's doing the show, otherwise he's also a human being, he'll eat and sleep and whatnot. But when he's doing the magic show, at that time, think of it as the magic is coming out of him, but it's all illusory. Nothing is happening in reality. But you are thinking everything is happening. That is why he's doing all that magic. So God is saying, these two natures are coming from me only, and I am creating this so-called world experience and dissolution also. God is saying, I am creating it. And then the example here Swamiji is giving us is like your mind. When you sleep, what happens? You abandon the world, you want your rest. At that time, nothing else matters. No food, no nothing. Eyes are closed, senses are closed, everything is closed. And then what do? You get into a dream state. Who created the dream? Your consciousness and mind is very actively involved in your dream. You are creating mountains, rivers, oceans, different friends come to meet you in your dream. Some nice one, some bad one. Suddenly a lion may appear. Now you're scared. What do I do? But mind you, when you're dreaming, it's really happening, isn't it? That experience is not to say, oh, nothing happened. When you are dreaming, you cannot say nothing happened. You are very scared at that time, or very happy if you win a lottery in your dream. But yet when you wake up, not even a cent of that lottery will come to you in physical life, and not even a little bit of the lion's tooth will hurt you in real life. But you have to wake up. Then you say, oh, it was all not real. So that's how you created something and you dissolved it, didn't you? You did it. You meaning everybody, every individual does it, isn't it? So now he says, we are creating it, we are dissolving it. Just like that, God also creates this, this whole cosmos, and then he dissolves it within himself. Same concept, remember, macro, micro. You are the same exact individual as God's power. But this is hidden because most people cannot digest this truth. They feel very, they shake with fear when they even think that they are God. And so many people used to kill and make them drink poison, anybody who said that. But in Sanatana Dharma, we've always been saying Socrates was made to drink poison after all for teaching this to people. This is the history. So most people do not understand the depth of these statements. But only that person can say, Aham Brahmasmi, I am God, is who has become God. Otherwise, you are only potential God. You have the possibility. When you are born, can you become a president? Can you become a big successful person? Sure, anybody can. It all depends. But you have to then work for it and put in the effort and go through the process. Much in the same way, God is also saying that all these things are coming from within me only. Ultimately, it's all illusory. Ultimately, when you depart, tell me what will go with you. Your wealth, your babies, your house, your money, your what? Only two things, your karma, actions you have done, good or bad, you cannot ignore them, you cannot abandon them. हम उनको छोड़ नहीं सकते हैं, वो आपके साथ जाएंगे. In your astral body, subtle body, they will go with you. And the second thing that will go with you is your good deeds. If you have done any good deeds, that is your spiritual wealth. So mind you, spiritual wealth goes with you. Material, financial wealth and opulence and success and all that does not go with you. That doesn't mean it's bad. That doesn't mean we don't need it. That doesn't mean we should criticize it. We are simply saying they cannot go with you, just like your dream snacks don't come and fall on your bed. If you're eating popcorn in your dream, what happens when you wake up? Is that popcorn going to fall on your bed? No, not even a little kernel of it will. So much in the same way, whatever you have accumulated, our wise sages and saints say this is a delayed dream, dirgha swapna. Except in your daily dream, you sleep for a few hours, you wake up and you continue the cycle. Here you come for a life, and when that life is over, you wake up, you go to another life, but only the time has increased, isn't it? 80 years, 60 years, 50 years, 100 years, 70, whatever your lifespan God has given you, who knows? So that is what we are basically saying. Then in shloka number 8, God says, Raso ahamapsu konteya prabhasmi shashi surayoh pranavah sarva vedeshu shabdah ke purusham rishu.
Number 7.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was number 7. I think I read 8 by mistake.
Yeah.
Let me go back to 7. Mattah parataram nanya kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva.
O conqueror of wealth, there is nothing higher than me. All this creation is strung on me like clusters of gems on a string, like the mala. You want me to read number 8 also?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do it separately.
Okay. 7. So, हे धनंजय, मुझसे भिन्न दूसरा कोई भी परम कारण नहीं है. यह संपूर्ण जगत सूत्र में सूत्र के मणियों के सदृश मुझ में गुंथा हुआ है, just like the mala. It's all threaded together.
So, I think this is a fairly simple shloka. God has clearly said, he's just using another analogy that you don't, because people say, where is God? Where is God? Why don't we see it? If he's here, why don't we see him? And why can't he come? So when somebody performs a miracle, then we say, oh yeah, wonderful. If somebody does this and something shakes out, vibhuti comes out, or he can fly in the air, we consider that as super normal and therefore something that most humans cannot do. So it's divine. If a human can fly with his 2 hands, everybody would be, all the journalists would reach him, he'll be in the papers. But birds fly all the time and nobody pays any attention to them. Because see, these are the things. Everywhere around you, miracles are happening all the time. And God is in every particle. He is in every atom. Yet we don't see, because this is not something to be seen by your senses. We have always talked about it. That's why it's called self-realization. You have to realize it. You have to earn it. It's not something that has to be revealed, something that has to be created. It's already there, but it has to be revealed. Just like you lose your ring somewhere, and then you keep looking for it, you don't find it, you give it up. Suddenly 6 years later, you find it somewhere. You say, oh, here it is. And then you're so happy. So what happened at that time? Did you create something? Did you buy something new? No, you already had it. It's just lost. Much in the same way, our consciousness, our Atma, our existence with God is there, but we have forgotten it. So here God is trying to give you another valid reason. You don't see me, but why don't you see me? Because when you garland a person, you have all these flowers, you have all these beads or whatever ornaments. The thread is not visible. What is visible? The flowers, the garden, the showy external thing, which is what is happening. Also, we are seeing this world, we are seeing the mountains, the oceans, the rivers. In other words, all these are flowers of the garden. But we are not seeing the thread that is binding everything together. Imagine if the thread falls off and the knot is untied, what will happen? All the flowers will fall, all the beads will be scattered here and there, nothing will stick. nothing will stay. So it's the thread that is holding everything together, but yet the thread is not visible because now the flowers have taken over it. So that's what he's saying. Vishwa ka mool karan main hi hu, anya koi nahi, nobody else. Keval main hi sansar ka utpadak hu. I am the creator. And that's what he's saying. Ye sutra maniyon ka karan nahi hai, Brahm hi sarvasva hai, usse uchtar kuch nahi hai. So he's saying the thread is not dependent on the flowers or on the gems. Why is it not dependent? Because the gems, if you want to make a garland for somebody, you will need the thread, but you may make different garlands. You may make a rose garland, or you may make just some artificial jewelry, or you may use real jewelry or gems or whatever. You have lots of choices to make a garland, but in every case, you will need a thread or something that will hold it together, isn't it? That's what we are talking about. That thread that is holding the whole thing together is what you don't see with your naked eyes. That is Bhagwan Ji, God, consciousness, Chetana Shakti, whatever you call it. And he's saying so even then, sometimes our thick heads don't get it. So then God moves on to Shloka 8. He says, Raso amhapsu konteya prabhasme shashi surayo pranavah sarva vedeshu shabdah khe purusham rishu.
O son of Kunti, I am the sapidity in the waters. I am the light in the sun and the moon. I am the Pranav, Om in the Vedas, the sound in the ether element, and the manliness in man. Does not mean God is discriminating women. It's about human beings. Hey Arjun, मैं जल में रस हूँ, nectar in water. चंद्रमा और सूर्य में प्रकाश हूँ, संपूर्ण वेदों में ओमकार हूँ, आकाश में शब्द और पुरुषों में पुरुषत्व, पुरुषों में पुरुष तत्व, पुरुषत्व तत्व, पुरुषत्व हूँ. Om Hari Om.
So God now is going deeper, even more than, because remember, he also wants us to understand the science behind it, not just the elements. So ज्ञान विज्ञान का मतलब कि तुम पहले ज्ञान लो, फिर उसके गूढ़ अर्थ को भी समझो, deeper meaning, so you can then implement it in your life, and then you feel holistically fulfilled. Otherwise, we are only half full, only theoretical knowledge, not enough. So then here God is saying, I am the essence in things. In later chapter, God will talk about Vibhuti Yoga. Arjun will ask him again, and he will go into much greater detail. Even there he says, I cannot explain. There are billions of things on planet Earth. When we say he's in every atom, what is left, you tell me? Nothing. He's everywhere. But then he's still giving you the essence. कि मुझ में जल में मैं स्वाद हूँ, like when you drink the water, the taste in the water that gives you when you are thirsty, and when you drink that cup of water, every gulp you take gives you satisfaction. And that rasa is that taste, nectar-like taste. That he says, I am. And then in the sun and in the moon, I am the light, the sunlight and the moonlight that's coming through me. It is not the moonlight in the sun, it's that he is the one behind giving the light to the sun and the moon, not the other way around. He's not like the light of the sun, so to speak. Therefore the shloka comes, na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhati kutoyam agnihi tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. God says this is why most human beings struggle to understand this concept, because we only see an effect when we can relate to the cause. So we say, okay, so this building is very pretty. Who made it? This watch is very nice. Who did it? This program is very good. Who made it? Who thought of it? This subject is very interesting. Who taught it? So therefore, everything has to have a certain cause. From the cause comes the effect, isn't it? But God, this is where most people struggle, because he is the cause and the effect also, both. You cannot say he is just the cause, because he's also in the effect. And this is where most people struggle, most philosophers struggle, most religion struggles, most people. And this has to be experienced through your own personal spiritual journey. It cannot be given as a gift to somebody. Otherwise, all the billionaires would have bought it by now, isn't it? Self-realization. So it's not possible. Poor people, rich people, doesn't matter who, it has to be coming from the sentiments of the heart. So here God is saying कि मैं समस्त प्राणी और पूर्ण विश्व में मैं ही हूँ, और ओम शब्द भी मैं ही हूँ. Like this Om, when we say Om, understand this properly. It's not a religious symbol. Just like in Christianity, we have the cross and we say, okay, that's a religious symbol. When we say Om, of course, we treat it in Sanatan Dharma, we see Om everywhere, but it's not related to a narrow-minded religion only. Om means the whole cosmic plan. Aum, which means the way this has been designed is your lips are closed, you go Aum. And then when you go, touch your head and feel it. You will feel the vibrations in your head, which gives resonance to the whole body. So, and when you go, oh, ah, when you open your mouth, now you're expanding. So from being shut, you expand and then you close again. In that saying Om, now you have covered all the languages of the universe, all the way from Sanskrit to German to Dutch to Spanish to, whether you understand it or not doesn't matter, because the voice is coming from the thought. Voice is simply just a tool to express your thoughts, isn't it? Otherwise, why would you need to speak? I'm hungry, I want something, I'm thirsty, I want to do this, I want to do that, or did you do this? We communicate that way. But why are we communicating? Because we have a thought that we want to transfer to somebody and get something from them. That is why. So Om, when you are saying Om, it starts from the subtle, where there is just the thought. Then the thought vibrates. From that vibration, it becomes para. Para means very subtle. It's like still at the there is no hum yet, there is no voice yet. And then it comes to Pashyanti state. Pashyanti means now you can see it a little more clearly. It happens so fast, most people don't even realize it. But when it's coming now, that thought has risen to the level of your heart, where you are now seeing and you are starting to articulate what you need to say, how you need to say. Then it becomes so Pashyanti, you see it, and then finally it becomes Vaikhari, which means now it becomes expressive, how you are going to express that thought through your vocal cords, and that is called Vaikhari Kriya, and you eventually spit it out of your mouth, the words. And if they are sweet, so much the better. If they are harsh and mean and rude, then they hurt the other person. And so, but it's your choice what kind of thoughts you are trying to bring out of your heart, of your consciousness. Therefore, they say, speak sweetly, speak calmly, and bless everybody, and live in the beautiful life and make your life and others' lives better, nicer. So this is the process of what, but God is the essence behind everything. That is what he is saying. So the Om I gave you much more. I'm giving you the whole psychology behind Om, and when we write it in three, as a three, and then we make a tail, and then we make a Ardh Bindu, that means it also covers physical, astral, causal, the three bodies that we have. And only physical dies, causal and astral do not. So they go with you at the time of your departure. And while you are having this body, you are using all three, physical, astral, causal. And when you go and meditate, you go deeper than that, it becomes Turiya. Turiya means that transcendental fourth state. Us state mein that Ardha Bindu comes, that little dot with the little moon-like sign on the Om. Most of you know how Om looks like. So that's what the Om is, and the deeper significance of it. Also, NASA has, as we all often talk, it's probably a video on YouTube. You can also watch it. If you amplify the sun's sound of its natural state, it also sounds like it's humming Om. So our sages and saints, thousands of years ago, they did this. They didn't really just create it now. This has been going on for a long time, but now you have science to prove it. Now we are trying to take this technology and do things. We have found the Rama bridge, tying the Ramayana and Sri Lanka and India, and we are finding it. We are finding the Dwarka Nagari all underneath through science and technology. So all these things are fine, and proving them historically is not the point at all. What you have to do in this limited human life is to cut the clutter and go to the source, go deeper and find out what God is trying to teach me. So he's saying, I'm the sound in the sky. When thunder comes, who is speaking? God is speaking. Everything he is only doing, but he's giving you just some samples, and he's saying, I'm the manliness in the men. And like Swami LP was saying, because Gita is limited, he cannot put a million things there, but he's also the compassion in women, the love in the women. So God has constructed our bodies differently. For a mother, the man doesn't get breast milk, but the mother will get the breast milk. When it's time to feed the baby, it comes. Now, whether we feed it or not, or we want to addict them to commercial things and products because we are running around here, there, that is not, they always suggest it is very good to give mother's breast milk to the baby for the first few months when he is developing, because that is the bond that needs to happen. And then if the mother is listening to satsanga, giving spiritual teachings, or you are a spiritual family and you're doing some aarti together, those vibrations also go to the child. As there are many stories like this, but we cannot get into that here in this Gita session. But there are so many examples like that. Bhakt Prahlad is a live example where he was taught, his mother heard Narada saying satsanga all the time, and he was a big devotee of God later. So he's saying Purusham and Purusham, so I am the manliness in the man and the delicate aspect in the woman. Also, you use your inference. Then he goes to the same other shlokas, he'll say the same thing, but we will read it so you can see the other things he's talking about. Punyo gandha prithviyayam cha tejashchasmi vibhavasau jivanam sarva bhuteshu tapaschasmi tapasvishu.
I am the pure fragrance in the earth. I am the effulgence in fire. I am the life in all living beings. I am the austerity in the ascetics. So who is the doer? It's him. We complain, but he does it. And he bears the pain for us also. मैं पृथ्वी में पवित्र गंध और अग्नि में तेज हूँ तथा संपूर्ण भूतों में उनका जीवन हूँ और तपस्वियों में तप हूँ.
So we won't go deeper into it. I think it's very simple. You understood it in Hindi and English. Let's move on to shloka number 10. Bijam mam sarva bhutanam vidhi partha sanatanam buddhir buddhim tamasmi tejas tejasvinamaham.
O Partha, Arjuna, know me to be the eternal seed of all beings. I am the intellect in the wise and the glory of the glorious. How beautiful. हे अर्जुन, तू संपूर्ण भूतों का सनातन बीज मुझको ही जान। मैं बुद्धिमानों की बुद्धि और तेजस्वियों का तेज हूँ। हरि ओम तत्सत।
So here Arjun has not asked the question, but Swamiji, due to his grace, is answering, is doing what if scenario. What if Arjun asked, but God, you are saying I am the seed of this whole creation, then how did you come into being? What was your seed? Who created you? Then God would have answered, I did not have a seed. Nobody created me. I am the source of everything, and I am causeless. I am not an effect of a cause. I am the cause and effect myself. And this is where every philosopher, every religion, every human being struggles to decode this mystery, because these senses that we are used to, eyes can only see, but they cannot hear. Ears can only hear, but they cannot see. You see the dilemma, nose can only smell, but it cannot see and hear. And your taste can only feel the taste, but it cannot do the other thing. So each of the sense can only do one thing. Now imagine your eye could also see and hear at the same time, and smell and taste at the same time, and touch it. Just your eye, not your ears, not your thing. So that would give you some sense, some thought on why we struggle to explain this concept and why it has to be experienced. So different sages and saints will use different examples. Give us the example of cooked rice. You are that one cooked rice in the whole cooked area, and that is God, this is you. Or you can be a drop of the ocean, that is God, this is you. And or you could be a ray of the sun, that is God, this is you. But in the end, basically it's the same thing, but you will have to eventually merge into that to fully understand. And therefore the challenge is, most people are in time and space, isn't it? We are all in time and space. If we are here in America, we cannot be in India. If we are in India, we cannot be in Fiji. We cannot create multiple copies of ourselves, but God can. So the problem here is, you can be a driver of the car, but can you become the car itself? No, you cannot do that. The car is dependent on the driver, and the driver is dependent on the car. When the two combine, then motion happens. Otherwise, the car will be sitting there for years. It will become iron and become useless if nobody drives it. So that is the concept here God is trying to explain, that he is causeless. So that part you have to fully drill into your brain, that logic will not explain it. Intellectual knowledge will not answer it. And so what should happen? We should follow Sampurna Yoga, the whole aspect of life, like Lord Krishna, who owns the whole cosmos he created. He came as an avatar of Lord Vishnu, and he did big miracles, huge ones. All his life he did them. All the way from when he was 6 days old, he killed Putana, a big demoness who came to kill him. After doing all that, God is still humble, driving a chariot. Arjuna, just driving a horse, you see. So no ego. He's trying to show us that how simplicity is so important, and how no matter who we are, what we become, he leads by example. God will always struggle more in a human body than you and I would ever. We cannot imagine God's problems. Born in a prison, people wanting to kill him all the time. Mother suffered, 7 babies were dead before he was born. Everything is difficult for God, but he comes to straighten us up. He comes for us. Just like we say, Christ died for our sins, right? We say Shiva drank poison for us when the ocean churned the poison. So this is how we have to understand that there is a deeper underlying, and God can become the car and the driver also. He doesn't need, if he feels like going somewhere, he'll himself become the car and drive it himself. But we cannot do it. We need a cause, we need engineers, then we have the name, I want this car or I want that car. That's it. And then you have to have the knowledge also, by the way. If you just get a car and you don't know how to drive, can you do it? No, you'll need somebody else. So these are the issues that God is trying to say. We struggle. So I think this is it. We will start with shloka number 11, starting next Sunday. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you all for your presence. May God Krishna, Lord Krishna's blessings be with you during this auspicious Ram Nami time. May Lord Rama bless you also. Sita Mata, Hanumanji, Bharat Shatrughan, and here Durga Devi, Lakshmi Devi, Saraswati Devi, all these Devi Devtas are the same one God. You can call them, pray to them in any name, shape or form that you feel like. And this is the beauty of Sanatana Dharma. We have so many things, just like you like to wear change of clothes you want to wear. At your work, you will wear a different cloth, and at a party, you will wear a different cloth. Much in the same way, God has given us all these abilities. So when you want wealth, you go to Lakshmi Ji. When you want strength, you go to Hanuman Ji. When you want music, you go to Saraswati Mata. You see how beautiful it is. And then it also gives you variety. But they are not different people. The same one God can take multiple forms in multiple ways. When you use the word omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, meditate on these words. And then don't be restricted. Open yourself to the cosmos. You are Brahman also. That's how you will practice it. Hari Om Tat Sat. So let us do Gita Aarti together, and then we will conclude the satsang. Hari Om. Om Deepa Jyoti Pura. जय भगवद गीते माँ जय भगवद गीते हरिया कमल हरिणी हरिया कमल हरिणी सुंदर सुपुनीते ओम जय भगवद गीते कर्म सुमर्म प्रकाशिनी काम शक्ति हरा शक्ति हरा तत्व ज्ञान विकाशिनी तत्व ज्ञान विकाशिनी वेद्या ब्रह्म परा ओम जय भगवद गीते निश्चल भक्ति विधायिनी निर्मल मल हरि मैया निर्मल हरि चरण रहस्य प्रदायिनी शरण सब विधि सुखकारी ओम जय भगवद गीते राग द्वेष विदारिणी कारिणी मोद सदा कारिणी मोद सदा भवदया तारिणी भवदया तारिणी परमानंद प्रदान ओम जय भगवद गीते आसुर भाव विनाशिनी नाशिनी तम रजनी नाशिनी तम रजनी दैवी सद्गुणदायिनी दैवी सद्गुणदायिनी हरि रसिका सजनी ओम जय भगवद गीते समता त्याग सिखावनी हरि मुख की वाणी मैया हरि मुख की वाणी सकल शास्त्रों की स्वामिनी सकल शास्त्रों की स्वामिनी श्रुतियों की रानी ओम जय भगवद गीते दया सुधा बरसावनी मातु कृपा की जय मैया मातु कृपा की जय हरि पद प्रेम दान कर हरि पद प्रेम दान कर अपनों कर ली जय ओम जय भगवद गीते जय भगवद गीते मैया जय भगवद गीते हरि कमल विहारिणी हरि कमल विहारिणी सुंदर सुपुनीते ओम जय भगवद गीते त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यज्ञं सफलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति 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 ओम करचरण कृतं वा कायजं कर्मजं वा श्रवणनयनजं वा मानसं वा परायणं विहितं वा सर्वमेतत्क्षमस्व जय जय करुणाब्धे श्री महादेव शंभो जय जय करुणाब्धे श्री महादेव शंभो जय जय करुणाब्धे श्री महादेव शंभो समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ओम ब्रह्मर्पणं ब्रह्महवि ब्रह्मग्नौ ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्म कर्म समाधिनः अहं वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहमाश्रितः प्राण अपान समायुक्ता पचामन्यं चतुर्विधं हरिः ओम तत्सत् ब्रह्मर्पणमस्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु शान्तिः 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you all for your dedication, presence, love. May you be filled with love, happiness, peace, joy, prosperity during this auspicious Ram Nami time. May you get the blessings and may you continue to focus your energies on Satsanga also and keep that in the center of your heart. Hari Om Tat Sat. We will see you. I will see you on Friday for Yoga Vashish. Swami LP does Bhagavatam on Thursdays, and we do Bhagavad Gita on Sundays. So thank you again. Hari Om Tat Sat. Divine bliss, joy, happiness. Shakti, Bhakti, Mukti.